Hi there, Dr. Rich again. I wanted to spend a few minutes with you going over some SPSS uh, techniques. There's a lot going on here in SPSS, a lot of different statistical tests that you can run, graphs, analysis, and so forth. The main idea is that SPSS will really crunch a whole lot of numbers for you, but it is specifically knowing exactly which statistical test to run for your hypothesis and the problem at hand. That's really the key. I'm going to show you how to run a few graphs. I'm going to show you how to run an ANOVA. I'm going to show you how to run a regression, all very quickly, just to give you some highlights. And then in another video, I'll probably drill down a little bit more. But here we are in SPSS. Of course, you'll recognize the user interface. I have a sample data set. This is actually real data for a customer health scoring platform that I built that we track all sorts of metrics and KPIs. At the end of the day, all of these metrics are fed in to some calculations to determine a overall customer health score. And that health score ranges from 0 to 100. So if, let's say, Midway University has a very high health score, it would mean that there's great relationship, there's a lot of engagement with this customer, so on and so forth. I won't get into those details, but we have a lot of information in here. So including, the grade level of the university. In many cases, we have things like product adoption, we have risk, all sorts of different data points. What I want to know, though, is sort of setting the stage. There are a subset of these institutions are actually managed by a customer success team. In that case, in those cases, we actually have a variable that says has CSC, has customer success consultant. So down the column here, a 1 indicates that that institution is actually managed by a CSC. Zeros means it's not. So the question is, these final health scores, which are way over here somewhere, right here, CHS, these final health scores, is there really any statistically, say that again 10 times fast, is there a statistically significant difference in health scores between those institutions that are managed by a CSC and those that are not? So the key question I'm asking that's quantitative is there a difference here? Is there a difference between groups? The group of institutions that are managed by a CSC and the group of institutions that are not managed by a CSC. So we have that variable. It's also called a factor variable. And it was right over here, has CSC. And we also have this customer health score, this final score, way down here. I know I'm going fast. You don't really need to know all that other stuff. Right down here. So you can see some low scores. You can see some mid-range scores. And there's some high scores, 82. I think the highest score is like 90 something in here somewhere, 87. So we're going to run an ANOVA. An ANOVA is a test for differences. ANOVA is typically run when you have 3 or more groups. When you only have 2 groups, like I have in this variable, right? I have zeros and ones, 2 groups. You can run a t-test, or you can run an ANOVA, and ANOVA will yield the same results as your t-test because you're only looking at 2 groups. When there's 3 or more groups, you have to use the ANOVA. So I'm going to go up here to do Analyze, Compare Means, and One-Way ANOVA. And you have a big laundry list of variables on the left. Okay. I'm just going to put CHS, Customer Health Score. And then I'm going to make sure I take this not has account manager. Sorry, we need the has CSC. Whoops, made a mistake again. Down on the factor. A post hoc is not even relevant because I only have 2 groups, so don't worry about those. There's various options to have. You can have the descriptive statistics for those variables and so forth. And then I can just click OK, and my result window pops up. It even tells you right here, post hoc tests were not performed because there are fewer than 3 groups. Great. Customer health score, group 0, the ones not managed, the ones managed. It looks like there are far more institutions in the list, looking at this N value, that are not managed. But we do have 241 schools that are managed. Great, sounds about right. And now we can look at, is there a statistically significant difference? And the sig of 0.000, sig is significance, means that yes, there is a statistically significant difference between these groups. Part of the fun in running these statistics, well, I think it's fun, is not just selecting the right statistical test for the problem at hand, but the more important part, or equally important, is understanding what these numbers tell you and in being able to interpret the results. That is key when you are working on a quantitative dissertation.